Hey everybody, how you doing?
Good morning. Good morning, veterans, or afternoon or evening, depending on where you're located. My name is Coach Gil Shuga here with VA Claims Insider, along with my pal, Coach Cassie Allen. Welcome to our Facebook Live.
If you'd like, go ahead and let us know where you're tuning in from, what branch, and what years you served in the comments. That way we could give you a shout out. We'll give it to about 5 minutes after and then kick it off.
Well, as you said, we're both veteran coaches here at VA Claims Insider. I'm a proud Navy veteran myself. I spent 9 years in active duty from 79 to 88. And mostly in destroyers in the Pacific, so saw a lot of different parts of the world. Got an opportunity to join VA Claims Insider a little over a year ago. Looking forward to the opportunity. It was to help fellow veterans with their disability claims. So here I am. Hopefully we can do just that today.
Yeah, that's awesome. I appreciate your service and everybody that's joining in. I see Kevin here from Boston. He served in the Army from 68 to 70. Thanks for being here.
San Antonio, Texas, 10 years in the Army. We were just talking about Texas before
Yeah.
we came on. My substantially better half is from Texas. I have a brother-in-law who lives in San Antonio. Beautiful area, the hill country.
Over here in the Dallas area, so it's always nice when we see other Texas veterans on here. So I'm like Gil, I'm not a veteran, but I've worked for the company, going on 2 years in January. It's blown by, but I really have never had a better job than this. It's great working with veterans through their claims process and seeing the success that comes from that. I've had a handful of family members use the company themselves to get to where they want to be as far as their rating goals go. So truly excited to see some of you join on and see that same success. But a couple more people in the chat. Thomas San Antonio did 21 years in the Air Force. Thank you, sir. Chris Abrams, 1992 in Seattle. Thanks for being here.
Got plenty of Air Force. Beverly and Thomas are both Air Force. There's one of my Navy shipmates. Don't see enough of us around here.
Hey, Neil. And Dion Jones tuning in, Nashville, Tennessee. Thank you for your Air Force service.
Chuck, Marine Corps, Semper Fi brother. Eric, another Marine Corps. One of our Marine Corps colleagues likes to thank us Navy vets for being their personal Uber service, getting them where they need to go.
It's helpful, though.
Got to get this somehow.
Hey, Don, thanks for tuning in. Coach Rosario, that's awesome. We love Charles.
Yeah, Charles is quite a character. I don't think I've ever seen Charles without a smile on his face, Cassie. How about you?
No, and he's always got something to talk about, too. So
Oh, that's true. Sometimes
yeah,
it's even interesting.
for sure.
Rob, welcome. Jeff, welcome. Don, SoCal.
Got about a minute here left. Some shout outs. Rob, thanks for being here. And Jeff, West Virginia, he's Army National Guard, 96 to 2005. Thank you so much for joining in.
There's Terry, some Navy time there in Okinawa and Peleliu. Gator sailor, like that. We spent a lot of time with our Marine Corps colleagues.
Hey, Paul, U.S. Army Aviation. Nice to see you.
Bob, 22 years. What branch there, Bob?
Long time. Thank you so much for your service.
All right. David from Blythe. Bruce, thank you both for being here. Another Marine there with Leo.
Awesome. We're so glad to have you guys here. We're going to talk a little bit about mental health, specifically, the three top claimed and awarded mental health. But initially, we'll just talk a little bit about our program. I'll let Gil kick it off with our disclaimer, and then I'll wrap it up.
Excellent. Well, let's jump in here. Just want to let you know that we are not accredited agents, VSOs, attorneys, or any other entity recognized by the Department of Veterans Affairs, the VA, and we are not affiliated with the VA in any way. VA Claims Insider is an education-based coaching consulting company for disabled veterans exploring eligibility for increased VA disability benefits and who wish to learn more about that process.
Yes, VA Claims Insider also connects veterans with vetted independent medical professionals in our referral network for medical examinations and independent medical opinions, or IMOs, as you may hear them be referred to, for a wide range of disability conditions. Kind of on that same loop, medical evidence is key. A lot of what you'll hear from us is SEM, strategy, education, and medical evidence, all key components in this process to get service connected. Kind of what you'll get with VA Claims Insider when you sign up is one-on-one coaching. Gil and I are both coaches, so you could be assigned to one of us if you get signed up, and we'll pop our referral links on the screen here in a bit. But in that one-on-one coaching call, you get a strategy session. We'll look over what your current situation is and how best to get you to your goals. When it comes to claim submission, we're there to coach you, guide you, make sure you have the proper forms and you're filing the proper ways. And once it is filed, we're there for C&P preparation, not only some one-on-one coaching for that, but a lot of live classes that we help you out with via Zoom. So, join in if you haven't already. If you've got questions about it, check us out.
Once you become a VA Claims Insider Elite member, we have a lot of educational opportunities for you. We have quite a few live classes via Zoom, very similar to what this is on Facebook Live, but via Zoom as a member. We have typically classes 3 times a day, Monday through Thursday, and 2 classes on Friday. We also have every morning, Monday through Friday, coffee with the coaches, which is an informal gathering with some of our veteran coaches and any of our veterans that want to join. It's kind of an open forum to talk about various issues related to your disability claims, or sometimes things unrelated to your claim. There's a lot of camaraderie that comes with that. You get the benefit of the knowledge of the coaches that are on the call, as well as the experiences of some of your fellow veterans, your comrades. And there's a lot to be gleaned from that, even if you just want to be a fly on the wall and listen to what folks have to say. We have our claim submission and C&P prep classes, and these are crucial to the success of your claim. One of the things you'll hear us talk about is how important the C&P exam is to the claim process. And frankly, it's the most important step in the process. So it's important for us to make sure that you're prepared for that you understand how important it is, that you understand what the exam is supposed to be, and so that you can be the best representative of yourself at that claim, because nobody else can do that for you. You're the one that has to go there and explain your circumstances to the C&P examiner, and we want to make sure that you're well prepared to do exactly that. And then, of course, we have some specialty classes as well. HLR, high level review, walk you through that process. We talk about sometimes specific types of claims, whether it's sleep apnea or something else. We talk about the different high value claims, the things that we here at VA Claims Insider have learned the VA values the most, that are going to help you get the benefit that you deserve. And so our class schedule, which is available to all of our elite members, it gives you the opportunity to sign up for any and all of those classes. And we have some of our members, and I think some are on this call, that attend many, many classes almost every day, whether it's coffee with the coaches, C&P prep exams, C&P exam prep, Mental Health Monday, which is a huge benefit to you. That's one of the things we all teach the different classes. I think most of us truly enjoy doing that, the chance to interact with veterans other than just the ones for whom we are the direct coach. But it is a huge benefit to you as a member of VA Claims Insider.
Definitely. I think you'll kind of when you sign up and get to join in those classes, you feel that it's not just a more one-on-one, but you do get one team, one fight. We're all here trying to help you be successful. We want you to get where you need to be and have those ratings that you deserve. So if you'd like to get signed up, you can do that with some of the links that are in the chat. Or if you have questions and you're kind of teetering back and forth, I don't know if I want to sign up, but I definitely want to learn more, sign up for a discovery call. You have free discovery calls. You can talk one-on-one with one of our team members about the process, what to expect. So if you need help, reach out to our organization. You can go to vaclaimsinsider.com. You can go to vaclaims.help. We'd love to partner with you along the journey.
Now, what we're going to talk about today, and then we'll open up for some Q&A, we're going to talk about the 3 most common service-connected VA mental health conditions. Now, the number one service-connected mental health condition is PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. Now, it is the most commonly claimed among veterans and is service-connected, the number one service-connected condition. Now, the average VA rating for PTSD and other mental health conditions is currently 70%. Now, that's the average. Some vets are certainly going to be lower. Some are going to be higher at 100%, depending on how your claim is presented and how the VA rates you. But the key is medical evidence for any type of claim that you commit. Mental health is no different. PTSD is the number one most common.
Definitely. And there's a lot of mental health conditions that you can be service connected for, right? But the top 3, like you said, PTSD is number 1. Coming in at number 2 is MDD, or major depressive disorder. And then third one is chronic adjustment disorder. So it doesn't always have to be PTSD. A lot of it's based on symptoms and that occupational and social impairment. But ultimately, they're all rated the same. And so that's what's good to know.
Yeah. And we talk about how they're rated. So let's talk about how these conditions are rated. It's from 0 to 100%. And yes, 0 is a rating. There's a common misperception among a lot of veterans that if you get a 0 rating, you're denied. And that's just not correct. A denial is a denial, meaning it's not service connected. You're not going to get anything for it. A 0 rating means it is service connected. It's just not impairing you to a level that's compensable to the VA. But what's important about that is that it's kind of a foot in the door. They're recognizing that it's service connected. The VA is recognizing that you have this condition. And so if it worsens, you're already service connected and you can get an increase for that. And you can also have other things that stem from that as secondary conditions. We'll talk a little bit about that. But for all of the mental health ratings, they use the same criteria for all of them. And it depends upon how it affects you, how you respond to the circumstances of your service. There's 31 different mental health symptoms, and they all apply to all. I believe there's 31 mental health ratings that exist as well. It's one of those coincidental numbers. And they review your social and occupational impairment. How does this affect you day to day? How does it affect you personally? How does it affect your personal life, your family life, your social life? How does it affect your professional life, your work life? Right? You have trouble keeping a job. You have trouble finding a job that fits what you can do and how you can handle the stressors or the difficulties that you're dealing with for your mental health condition. And so it's all about you. It's a very individual analysis. It's something that a medical health professional is going to have to review with you and for you to determine exactly what your circumstances are. This is no one size fits all. That's why there's 31 different symptoms. Everybody reacts differently to different things.
Of course. And I think a big help that you get when you sign up through VACI's Elite program is that, what are the 31 symptoms, right? We can't list them all on live, but there's access to that information in our resources. You can figure out which ones you deal with, how they affect you, and where you should be rated. That's going to help you best tackle moving forward with a claim for mental health. All in all, there are 3 key factors to a successful claim or a successful mental health claim. Initially, you're going to need a diagnosis. So if you're dealing with the symptoms, and you had an event during active duty that may have had an effect on that, it's good to get in and talk to a doctor about it so you can get the diagnosis set in stone on paper, be able to document your symptoms that have been persistent and recurring, and then obtain a nexus, which is really going to be a medical link kind of putting those together, talking about why mental health condition that you're dealing with now is at least as likely as not, or more likely than not, related to your service. Um, for us, we kind of take it a step further. We go into what's called our golden circle. And so you really need to be able to vocalize the symptoms, how they affect you, which is why you'll hear us talking about that a lot when it comes to mental health.
Yeah, that's all important stuff. And that golden circle, you hear us talk about that a lot. The VA relies on what they call the Kaluza triangle, which is a three-sided analysis requiring you to have a current diagnosis, um, a connection to your service, and a medical opinion, the nexus, if you will, that connects those two things together before it can grant a claim. And if you're missing any one of those, the VA simply can't grant your disability claim. But we add a fourth item, which is frequency, duration, and severity to that golden circle, because it is important for you to be able to display to the VA how those factors affect you in order to get the level of the rating that you deserve. The VA will measure that, frequency, severity, and duration of the effect of your disability claim, mental health or otherwise. Now, regarding PTSD, it always has an in-service stressor, such as exposure to death or threatened death, fear or hostility, actual or threatened serious injury, or actual or threatened sexual violence. In other words, while you're on active duty, something has to have occurred to which you reacted in order to trigger a PTSD response and in order to grant a PTSD service connection. If there is no actual stressor that you can point to that actually affected you, that you actually witnessed or participated in, you have to have that. It can't be so tenuous as, well, a friend of mine told me about this horrific event that happened and I've been traumatized from hearing about it. That's not going to make it for you. But in fact, if you were the witness or if you were the participant, and there's obviously some that are clearly make sense, you were involved in an IED attack personally. You watched your buddies seriously injured or killed. You were, involved in mortar attacks and feared for your life. Those are the kinds of things that actually occurred, and they're usually documented in your service record. And we can talk about that specifically if you work with one of our coaches on how you establish those specific stressors, which are necessary for a PTSD rating.
And it's good to note too that not all PTSD ratings are combat related, right? There are some non-combat stressors that can come about as well. Some are military sexual trauma, maybe witnessing service member suicide, or serious car accidents or training accidents. A lot of those things can have some similar impacts, similar symptoms, and can also be claimed as primary due to those stressor events.
Yeah, and that's a great point, Cassie. And what's important for a lot of vets to learn, many vets, when they hear mental health claim, they think PTSD, and they might think, well, I don't have one. But there's only 3 PTSD ratings of all the 31 mental health ratings. There's combat PTSD, non-combat PTSD, as Cassie mentioned, and military sexual trauma, which unfortunately is a real thing. But all the others don't rely on a particular military stressor necessarily. And those are worth exploring for everybody.
Definitely. I think a key point too to mental health is that there's 2 pathways, right? There's primary due to stressor events, but if you're sitting there thinking, I deal with a lot of these symptoms, but I don't have a specific stressor event from active duty, sometimes there's a secondary pathway. And getting with a coach and being a part of the program will allow you to see kind of what those other opportunities might be. How your current service-connected conditions affect your lifestyle and impact your daily life can also be a pathways for service connection for mental health. A lot of the 31 symptoms that you can be rated for PTSD, you can also be rated for depression or anxiety. And so that's why there's many different pathways. It's good to get in, connect with a coach, see what you're dealing with, and let us help you point you in the right direction.
Okay. That's a great point. Well, I guess this is the point where we can open it up to some questions. Cassie, do you have anything you want to add before we let our vets bombard us with everything they want to know?
I love the question and answer portion. Let me see. As far as my notes go, the only other point I had when it comes to mental health is just to not get it confused as far as being rated for one or multiple mental health conditions. You do want to hone in on, a strategy as far as what you're diagnosed with and filing for that. If you already service connected for mental health, um, for one specific diagnosis. In that case, you're always going to be going for an increase versus going for a new diagnosis. That won't change your overall. It's all based on symptoms at that point. Just a little keynote there.
Yeah, you might see in your rating that you were denied for PTSD but granted for anxiety disorder. And that's simply because the VA maybe didn't find a direct stressor connection for the PTSD, but they found sufficient symptoms for the other. And you're never going to have two mental health disorders ever. The VA is only going to give you the higher of the two if you have two that might otherwise qualify. So don't feel like, well, now that I got my PTSD rating, I want to go after this anxiety rating. No, you're going to go for an increase of the one that you already have because that's already service connected.
Awesome. So let's look and see what questions we have. Going back a little earlier, there's a question from Priscilla. She asks, I have an ongoing mental health issues. The question is, when should I file since it is ongoing? If you're not already service connected, I guess the best way to answer this is you should file when you have the evidence to support the condition. And that's really when you should. You want to make sure you have the diagnosis. You want to make sure you have a nexus kind of speaking to how it might be related to your service or service connected conditions. And then once you have all that evidence to support it is when you can file. If you want a little bit more detail on your specifics, get with a coach or do one of our free strat calls so that we can chat a little bit more about where you're at in your process and where to start.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, that the best place to start is with that discovery call. You can sign up for a free call with one of our reps. They can talk to you about the program, explain how it works, explain what it takes to get signed up with us, and get a coach assigned to you, and they'll be in touch with you usually within 24 hours or less to start you down the road. And then we can figure out the best way to approach your particular circumstance. Remember, we're here to help you find a way to get all the benefits that you deserve, the things that you've earned. Because, the VA system is a difficult system. We all know that. It's not necessarily stacked against you, but it is complicated. And if you don't do this every day, if you don't work in this field, it's hard to understand all the nuances. It's hard to understand the regulations. And that's why we're here to coach you through that process and hopefully get you where you really deserve to be. All right.
Looking through to see if there's another question here we can answer.
And, while we're trying to answer these questions, it's never too late to get started. It's just not. A lot of vets, particularly some of our older vets, didn't want anything to do with the VA after they left service. They figured I'm just going to get on with my life. But it's not too late to come back and try and pursue the benefits that you deserve. We prefer to go forward instead of backwards. There's one vet in particular that I like to refer to. It's a gentleman served in Vietnam, as some of you on this call did, and he never pursued anything. And finally, he came to us seeking to get the benefits that he deserved. And the impetus for him to finally reach out to us was his wife. She said, "Look, you've been a pain in the butt to me and our kids, and now our grandkids for 40 years now. It's time for you to get some help." And he had to be a little bit humble and admit that that was absolutely true. So he came to us, and we're working with him and getting him the help that he needs. And it's not just about the benefits; it's also about helping you get the treatment that you need, making sure that you get into the system, making sure you get the care that's necessary for the various conditions that you've been dealing with since your time in service.
I I think we're not just helping folks with claim filing, right? We're really changing lives. And it's not just, like he said, the income part of it. You see people come in one way and leave a whole different way, or, get their 100% and still pop on our classes just because they love the community that they were entered into. So it, it really doesn't hurt to get signed up and at least figure out what your options are. But I think you'll find that it's more than that. You'll get a lot more out of it than what you might be expecting.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, the camaraderie issue is an important one that a lot of vets overlook. And many of us, since we left active duty, we find that it's just not the same relationships. It's just not the same conversations. We have opportunities for you to get some of that back, to experience some of that, to share that camaraderie, to share those mutual experiences. It doesn't matter what branch you served. It doesn't matter when you served. It doesn't matter what your job was when you were on active duty or called up in the reserves. What matters is that you have shared common experiences and you can talk to people who understand those things and who can relate to those things. Most of you recognize this. Talking to vets is just different, because it is. We have an experience that other people didn't have. We raised our right hand and we swore an oath and we were ready to put it all on the line, whether we were asked to do so or not, but we were always prepared to do that. And this is an opportunity when you join our program to make some connections with people just like that you might not have before. And a lot of our vets, particularly those that are what I call our frequent flyers in some of our classes, they take full advantage of that. They get to make friendships, create relationships, and get some support that oftentimes is lacking out there in the real world.
Yes, and I wanted to call out a question here I found because it is a common misconception here. I think it was from Matthew. Sorry, these comments go so fast. There it is. So, will a disability disqualify a person from having a CCP? So, no, right? Having a mental health rating does not prevent you from having a conceal and carry permit, even though a lot of people think that it does. I think there's a lot of misconceptions when it comes to mental health, having a mental health rating and being able to do things that you're already able to do, right? It doesn't or shouldn't affect most workplaces. It shouldn't affect your ability to carry a weapon. So those are important things to kind of talk about if you're worried about them, so you can move forward with a mental health claim if you are dealing with those symptoms. You don't want those fears to hold you back because you deserve to be rated for the things that you're dealing with, despite some of those fears that people might put out there.
Yeah, that is a common question. A lot of our vets worry about that, and unfortunately, there's a lot of misinformation out there among vets. I like to think of it this way. When if you think about back when you were in the barracks or the birthing compartment, talking to the folks, you could have 10 expert opinions about stuff they don't know anything about. You know, we all know that, and we've all talked to those folks. So talk to people that really have an answer, rather than just some guy whose brother-in-law had the exact same experience as you, and this is what happened, because everybody's different. Everybody's absolutely different. Let's see. Here's a fan of coffee with the coaches. That's nice to see.
Oh yeah, it's definitely one of the great parts about our live classes that we do on Zoom. Question here from Ron, which I love. How do I get signed up? A couple different ways, right? You can sign up directly with one of Gil or Cassie here, or you can sign up through our regular sign up channel. We'll put that up there on the screen and we'll pop it in the comments as well. I got a note here from John Anderson that mentions, when he served and what his current ratings are now. I won't dive into all of that, but the key point I see is, the VSO he's assigned to isn't really responding to calls or letters. VSOs can be really great, right? But sometimes you need a little bit more assistance, a little more guidance. And so that's what we're here for. VSOs are there to help you get what you need, but sign up and see how we can help you move forward. See if maybe we can get you above where you're at right now with your rating, John. Even just signing up for our free discovery call will allow you to ask the questions that you may be trying to ask your VSO. And we're happy to help get those answered.
Yeah, and along those lines, Kevin, Charlie, and Lee all asked specific questions about their individual cases. And we really can't get into the specifics situation, but those are things that each of our coaches is prepared to talk to you about and determine if there is a pathway for you to go down that. And one of the benefits of talking to a coach too, and giving us the opportunity to take a look at your ratings and your history and your prior decision letters is we might see a pathway for you to increase your rating that you hadn't considered. Many of us get focused on the one thing that seems to bother us the most, or the thing that we're upset about the most, or the thing we feel the VA owes me for this. When in reality, your coach might see that as not the best path for you to have success in increasing your rating. It doesn't mean that it's not a legitimate complaint. It doesn't mean that it's something that might be rated down the road, but it might not be the best thing for you to do first. And so having an opportunity to talk to coach and present all those issues and have the coach look at that and analyze that and give you their opinion about what would work for you. Because our whole goal is to increase your benefits as much as possible in the shortest amount of time possible. And that may not be the path that you've already taken. It may not be what a VSO has done with you in the past. It may not be what your buddy thinks would be best for you. You get the benefit of our experience. And it's not just my individual experience or Cassie's individual experience. Each of us is on a team, and all our teams work together. And all of our teams work together with the other teams. And so there is a wealth of knowledge available to each one of you here, and we can apply it to your individual case in that setting. Here today, we can't really talk about a particular case because we don't know enough about it. We don't know the history of your circumstances, what your ratings are, what was approved, why it was approved. And I know one of the things that all of us do is when you come to work with us and you've previously been denied, we really want to take a look at what the VA said to you and why they denied you. It's a roadmap for us. Like, okay, let's fill in this gap, or, well, this is never going to be approved for this reason. So those are a lot of opportunities for us to help you in those particular individual circumstances.
For sure. I have a question here I see from Ben. I don't want to butcher the last name. Ben Cardenas, maybe. He already has 50% service connected, I'm assuming, for mental health, but you can correct me if I'm wrong. How will the Telemedica Psych Eval help me out is what his question was. And so Telemedica is that team of doctors we refer to in our referral network that can help with Psych Eval and other medical evidence to help support your claim. If you're already rated for mental health, though, the way that Psych Eval can be helpful is being able to document any symptoms that have gotten worse since your original rating, or just a progression of symptoms, so that if you're filing for an increase, you have the evidence to support it. Won't just be based off of your lay testimony, but a medical opinion as well. If you'd like to check out those services, key part is starting with the Elite program. Let the coach kind of delve into your situation, see if you need that, and then they'll help you get signed up.
Mark Leonard asked a question. He's an Elite member. What is my first step? The first step is to sign into the Elite portal, which is our place online where we share information. You share information with us. Follow those instructions. Your coach is going to give you, and your coach's assistant, who we work with as part of our team, directions on how to load everything up, how to share the information with us rather. And by the way, one of the great things about the portal is even if you're not particularly tech savvy, it's designed to give you step-by-step instructions on how to get the information that we need to help you and how to upload it to the portal so that we can look at it. And once you get all those steps completed, you schedule your strategy session with your coach. And it's 30 minutes on the phone, one-on-one, where your coaches take a look at all of your information and make a recommendation and decision on the best path for you to take. That's your first step. Once you signed up, get all your documents loaded in the portal and schedule that strategy call. And that's where the magic happens, so to speak. That's where you get to talk to your coach and find out what your coach thinks might be the best thing for you. And remember, we're coaches, we're guides. We're not going to do this for you. There's going to be some homework involved. There's going to be some learning on your part. You're going to have to attend certain classes to learn the important things about the claims that you're pursuing. You're going to have to take a look at some videos that we need you to watch. One of our colleagues likes to say that nobody should care more about your claim than you. And I believe that. I think that's very, very important because if you're not interested in your claim, you're never going to give it the attention that it deserves. We're going to guide you. We're going to give you the benefit of our experience. And we're going to work with you to help you get what you need. So there's your first step.
Definitely. I think one of the greatest parts of signing up is that the process can move as fast as you want it to, right? If you get signed up today, you usually receive that welcome email regarding how to access your insider portal within 24 hours. You can pop on and you'll see all those initial first steps, uploading your evidence, uploading maybe past decision letters, uploading what you're currently rated at, and then start diving into some of the materials while you're waiting to get on the call with your coach. But the process can move quickly as long as you can. There's a question here from Jeff Finley. Can I get paired up with a coach in my hometown? So we work a lot via the computer or phone, right? We do have coaches that live in Texas. I am one of them. So if we want to make sure that you're signed up with one in the Dallas area, go ahead and get signed up with my link today, and we can chat a little bit. Will we get together in person to work through claims? Not necessarily, but have we met some of our vets in person just to say, hey, how you doing? And kind of eat some breakfast? Of course, we have done that. And that's a really great way to connect with you guys. So go ahead and take advantage of that. That way you get someone in Texas, and I'll be happy to talk with you soon.
Y'all folks down in Texas. What's important too is that you don't have to have a coach that's near you. We are a virtual company, and your coach can live anywhere. They can be down the street or across the country and overseas as well. We have quite a few veterans that do live outside of the country. And so it's not necessary that your coach be local to you. More often than not, you don't need a face-to-face hands-on. It's always nice to meet our veterans. It truly is. But that's not a requirement to work with us. You don't have to say, I hope I have a coach that's down the street from me so that we can work together, because geez, Cassie, I'm not sure where all your vets are spread around, but I know I've got vets all the way from Japan to Europe, and everywhere in between.
Definitely. I've got some in Japan, some in Guam, and we have the same success, right? I guess that's what's nice about the age of the internet, even though I know it can be really frustrating for a lot of us sometimes too. But if we can push through and be persistent, not only with the frustrating internet stuff and get this done, but just the frustrations of working with the VA, that's a big part of what our coaching entails is, hey, I know this sucks, this denial, but this is what we can do and move forward and take that next step. So that's really a big part of having a coach along with you through it all.
And, along those lines, I mean, the internet age makes a lot of things, better, faster. Don't be afraid of the technology. Sometimes we'll come across an older vet that says, oh, I'm no good at computers, yet you're able to get on a Facebook Live. You're able to, schedule a discovery call with one of our reps. You're able to log into the portal. You can do more than you think you can. And we even have vets that, rely on other members in their household, kids or grandkids. There's one vet that I talked to briefly. He's not one of mine, but he's a very proud World War II vet. And the only time he works with his coach is when his grandson, with whom he lives, is present, so that he can help him, walk him through that. So don't be shy that you might not be as computer savvy as you think you have to be, because we're very good about helping you through the process. And as I said before, you got on here, it's not really much harder than that. And we give you full instructions on how to use the technology that we use. And it's our goal rather, to make sure that it is usable and user-friendly. We want to make sure that you can get the help that you deserve. And so, we're here. Technology's here. You're here. We can all make this work and work together.
We want you to have success. We care for you. Let's see. I saw a couple questions in here about, what about MST? So MST is one of those ones we talked about that falls under PTSD in most cases. We know that a lot of times they aren't always reported, and so there are ways around that. The best way, without getting into everybody's details, right, because it's a difficult subject, is sign up, get with a coach, let us talk you through what your options are. A big part of our elite program is those live classes, and one of them that we host is specifically for women veterans. So I like to make sure that everyone knows about that because you need a spot where you can trust someone and be able to talk about what you're going through. So sign up and let us help you out and figure out what best path is for you.
Yeah, I hear great things about Women's Wednesdays. Never been, obviously, not something that I'm invited to. And also, as you can see, we have quite a few women coaches, and occasionally we'll have a woman vet who would feel more comfortable talking with another woman, and we respect that, and that's available to you if that's your preference. If not, that's fine too. But we are very sensitive to those kinds of issues. They're important, no less important than any other issue, but they do come with some very specific nuances and issues that we want to make sure that you recognize we are sensitive to.
Of course. And likewise, if you love to work with a male coach and you got a woman coach, we accommodate either way. Let me see. A question I found up towards the top is from Lee Gallman Jr. And he says, can I claim TMJ or bruxism secondary to PTSD? So there's actually a slew of things you can claim as secondary to PTSD or mental health. TMJ or bruxism has been known to be one of them. Just like with any claim, having medical evidence, medical diagnosis, a nexus linking those together is going to be what you want before you file to submit along with your claim. But there is a pathway there. And if you guys haven't already, check out our VA Claims Insider blog. It's free to the public, and there's a slew of information in there about secondary claims. So look at that, and then if you just too much to look at and you want to hone in on what is best for you, sign up with the Elite program, and let's coach you through your process.
Bruxism, by the way, is grinding of the teeth. One of the things that we each learn is about our own particular issues, and sometimes we talk about them and forget that not everybody knows all of those things. There's probably not a day goes by where I don't learn of a new condition that I hadn't heard of before, and so I end up having to look stuff up. I wouldn't have known what bruxism was unless one of my vets told me they had it, and they were trying to get it service connected, and it can be, and that illustrates an important point. You may have conditions that you've just lived with for years because you hadn't considered that it was service connected. You hadn't considered that your other conditions are leading to that. And those are secondary conditions. It didn't arise directly from your time in service, but it arose from a service connected condition, whether it's a mental health or a physical condition. A classic example of that would be, let's say you blew out your knee on active duty and you have your knee rated at a certain level. You naturally are going to favor that knee and put unnatural stress on the other leg and the other knee. And you ultimately may cause some damage to that knee that could potentially be secondary to the first knee, even though you didn't hurt it in service. That's just a simple example, but those are the kinds of things that we try and help you recognize and look at, because many of us don't realize how things are connected and how they're related to each other. We try and explore that with you as best we can for your particular circumstances.
Of course. I found another question here from Don Lombard. I don't think we covered this yet. So he's rated 50% already for non-PTSD non-combat PTSD, but is lacking sleep currently. So what is the best way to get an increase? When it comes to increasing PTSD or any mental health condition, it's all going to be focused on that occupational and social impairment, the 31 symptoms that fall into that. So if you're not already signed up, you can get signed up and review some of the materials they have about how the VA rates the condition and what symptoms may fall into a higher percentage than where you're at now. If you're dealing with those symptoms, being able to talk about them and how they affect you is going to be a key factor in getting your increase. You will have to file evidence that kind of shows that your symptoms are more severe. So again, we have doctors we can refer to that help with that, or if you've been seeking treatment for mental health, you can show those records. So that's just one of the ways you can go about it. But I would say get with someone and make sure you go over what symptoms entail an increase so it is warranted.
There's another question here. Chris is asking, I have debilitating pain in my feet, knees, hip, and back. Some days I have to sit on a heating pad all day. Been down in the dumps lately because I don't know how I can work. These are the kind of situations, Chris. Thank you for being here, first of all. I'm sorry you're having so much trouble, but these are the kinds of things we help a lot of vets with. If you're not rated for anything at all, your coach is certainly going to explore that and try and help you get your initial rating. If some things are rated, take a look at how they've gotten worse or how they're connected to other things or other secondary conditions. Um, Mental health issues arise oftentimes from severe physical issues. You're having to deal with those every day, and those do have a serious impact on your life. And that's something that's worth exploring with one of our coaches to see if that is something we can help you with. The first step, reach out to one of our reps, get that discovery call, get some of your basic questions answered to see if you're a good fit to work with us, and then get assigned a coach and see what we can do to work with you to help get you the benefits and the help that you really do deserve to try and help you improve your life. Cassie mentioned it. We're in the business of changing lives, and there's nothing more rewarding for us than helping a vet through this journey, down this path to get the benefits they've earned, get the treatment they need, and make their lives better. And it's not just your life, it's the life of your family as well. Most of you have a spouse, have children, have people in your life. And if you're suffering, it impacts them. If you're not being taken care of, it impacts them. And the more we can help you, the more that helps them also.
100% agree. We want you to be successful. The best way we can do that is by looking at what you got and kind of helping you put in a path of success from there. I don't know how Gil's brain works, but when I'm reading through some of the comments and you guys are throwing out your different percentages, I just immediately want to add it up on the calculator and just see what's that true rating, what's going to get you to that next step. So that's what we're all about. And you can really only know what those options are, from our perspective, at least, by signing up with a coach, or at least getting those questions answered on those free 30-minute calls. So take advantage. It's really risk-free to sign up. We are a paid coaching company, but it's on the back end of success. You're not going to pay anything for figuring out what your options are, figuring out, what your next step could be. So don't let that hold you back.
I do the same thing, Cassie. When I get a new vet and I get all their numbers, I do the calculations. Some of you are familiar with the magic of VA math. And so I come up, what's your raw score or your true score compared to what your rounded up or down score is with the VA, because that'll really help us decide what you need to accomplish to move up and to get the ratings you deserve. Some of you probably already know, as I have to remind my vets, the closer you get to 100%, the harder it is to get to 100% because you have less and less to work with to accomplish that. But yeah, we're always doing VA math. I can't quite do it in my head. I'm sure Cassie can, but I have to use calculators, and I got one right here sitting on my desk, and then I use the VA calculators online as well. So, they told me there wouldn't be any math.
It's good that we learned, but I think the ones that I know off the top of my head, I remember them. It's not that I know the math. You know how kids can read, but they just remember what the letters look like. Maybe it's like that.
Yeah, I get you.
We do try to identify, high value claims, though. Mental health is one of those. And so that's why you'll see a lot of our lives are about mental health. And when you join in, we're going to ask you, hey, whether you bring it up or not, likely your coach is going to ask you, how is your mental health? Are you dealing with these things? Because they're just not talked about enough. We're definitely getting better as a whole in the world, I think, destigmatizing it all. But ultimately, if you haven't talked to somebody about it before, let your coach at least let you know that it's okay to talk about, and then help you move forward with it from there.
Jeff Finley made a comment here, always have an intent to file on record with the VA. That's absolutely crucial. You always want to have an active intent to file. You don't have to say what your claim is for yet, but you want to have an open intent to file so that you lock in that date for payment, so that if your claim is ultimately approved, if it was diagnosed at the time of your intent to file, you can get paid all the way back to that intent to file date. It's valid for a year. So if you submit your intent to file today and you don't get your claim filed until 11 months from now, and ultimately it gets approved a couple months after that, the pay is going to go back to that intent to file date under most circumstances. There's obviously a couple of exceptions to everything, but Jeff, that's excellent advice. Always have an intent to file on record with the VA. And you can simply call their 800 number, 1-800-827-1000, and say, I want to open an intent to file. They'll do it for you right there on the phone. There it is, trying to make it as easy for you as possible. Great advice, Jeff. Appreciate you offering that.
Yeah, it's a perfect knowledge nugget. Usually get them from the coaches, but we love to get them from the veterans as well. So not a lot of other questions in here unless I've missed any. I will give just a quick taste of what you might get from a coach, right? So there's a couple questions in here regarding the VA Form 210781. Ultimately, that's a form you use when you file a claim for PTSD specifically. And I don't want to get into the key points on anyone's specific situation, but it usually outlines 2 stressor events, and then you can put the key dates, locations, and what happened, and there's additional space for remarks at the end. So if you have multiple, you can put up to 2 on that one form. If you need to use another form or use a separate piece of paper to add additional details, you can do that. So that's just kind of what you'll get one-on-one from a coach, trying to fill out the form, and then you can always review them and make sure they look good to go and they're signed properly before you send them off. We're getting to the tail end of this. We'll do a quick little recap about what our topic was about, because I know we got into questions a little bit early. Ultimately, we were talking about the top 3 acclaimed and rated mental health disorders, I guess, which is PTSD, MDD, which is major depressive disorder, and adjustment disorder. Ultimately, if you have mental health symptoms and you haven't yet been diagnosed, that's going to be your first step to make sure you have all the evidence that you're going to need to move forward.
Okay. Now, let's just sort of remind you that, when you become a member, you have a lot of opportunities for education, which is the goal here. We talked about it earlier, but I really can't stress enough how important it is for you to take advantage of that education. Cassie, mentioned to you that we focus on strategy, education, and medical evidence. And, your coach can work with you one-on-one to help build a strategy, but we provide the opportunities for you to learn more about the process, learn more about your circumstances, learn how to get through the process, learn how to do claims well. It's just really a simple way to put it. And that's crucial. And as we mentioned before, we have classes 3 times a day for different topics. We have our coffee with the coaches Monday through Fridays, C&P prep classes, claim submission classes, and specialty classes talking about specific things. I'm glad all of you are here, and some of you are members, and great to see you here. Those of you that are still wondering what to do, reach out to our reps for that free discovery call. Talk to someone about your circumstances and see if we'd be a good fit for you. It's free. It's take up, 20, 30 minutes of your time. They can get you signed up if you think it's a good fit for you, and you'll be in touch with the coach very soon after that, and on your way to getting the benefits that you deserve. We'd love to work with you. We'd love to help you as much as we can. I know some of you had some specific questions today that are very specific to your circumstances, and it's difficult for us to really offer any advice or suggestions in that to those types of questions in this setting. But your assigned veteran coach will do exactly that for you, give you the benefit of their experience, their advice, and get you down the path towards changing your life.
Let's get excited about it too, right? It can be sometimes downing to work through the claims process, but we're going to continue to encourage you through it all. Education is a really big part of it. Medical evidence is a huge part of it, but encouragement is huge, and we just want to be here for you. So keep coming back. I know we have other live classes almost every Wednesday, so join in for those. And then if you sign up, you can start joining in almost every day, Monday through Friday, for our live classes via Zoom. We'd love to see you there and love to get to know you guys a little bit more.
That's a great point, Cassie. The enthusiasm and the motivation. We're coaches, and we call ourselves coaches on purpose. You think about it in the context of going to the gym. Sometimes you can motivate yourself to go and say, well, today I'm too tired, I'll go tomorrow, or I got these other things. When you have a coach and you know someone's pushing you and someone's reaching out to you and someone's saying you need to get this done, you need to work on that. You've got our assistants that are helping you, through the process. It really can help motivate you. And all the different classes we have in the Coffee with the Coaches, you can motivate each other, which is great. You see some of the other vets saying, "Hey, I'm at 20%, but I'm working my way up." Or someone said, "Well, I started at nothing and now I've got 80, 90, I'm working towards 100." That's incredibly motivating and inspiring for a lot of us, because we can see that there are people that have success, and some of them it's hard fought success. It is, and then we also share our failures. Sometimes we get denied when we don't think we should have been, but there's your coach to help you analyze what went wrong, why the VA said what they said, and what, if anything, we can do to overcome that. Whether it's they just got it wrong, let's submit a higher level review, or, well, they said we didn't have this evidence, let's see if we can find that evidence and submit a supplemental claim to get this changed. There's a lot of ways to go through it, and having a coach is going to help you get the answers instead of just getting that denial letter, throwing it in the trash, and walking away mad. That's not what you want to do. A lot of our vets like to say that you only lose when you quit.
We won't let you quit. That's the main thing.
Exactly right.
Like a Facebook user said, accountability is what they needed. And a lot of times on my call, I'll ask, what's your preference? My assistant can check in often if life really gets the best of you, or we can kind of back it off if you know that you're just busy and you'll get it done in 3 weeks. So we'll tailor it to you. Get signed up. Let us learn more about your process, where you're at now, and see that success with you.
Yeah, and we know that life happens. Like Cassie said, if you're overwhelmed, if you've got things going on and you really can't focus on this today, we'll still be here tomorrow, next month, a couple of months. Whether they're personal issues, health issues, work issues, family issues, that all happens. We know that. We all have them. We're all human beings, and that's really why we're here, to help each other out. And so we recognize that this process literally would go as fast as you want it to go, subject to delays that the VA has. I get vets that sign up today, get everything uploaded today, and schedule a strategy call with me tomorrow. I get other vets that sign up today and look at a video tomorrow and upload something next week, and my assistant's on them. I'll upload a couple more things. Well, I'm not ready for a strategy call. They finally get there, but that's them. I'm there for them when they're ready, but it's when they're ready, when you're ready. And if you feel like you've been spinning your wheels, if you feel like you're not getting the satisfaction that you deserve to get, if you feel like you don't know what to do next, that's why we're here. And we would like to be able to help you do all the things you need to do.
Well, thank you, everybody, for joining us here. It's not always easy to kind of put stuff out there in the comments that you're dealing with. If we didn't get to everybody today, it's not for a lack of wanting to talk to you. It's just for a lack of maybe the details, right? So sign up. You'll see your welcome email. You'll get to schedule that coach with your call with your coach, and then you guys will get to kind of talk it out, talk about what you've been dealing with, and move forward. Really excited to see everybody get the rating that they deserve.
Great to have you all here. We'll wrap this up. Let me just, Ricky, real quick, you said you just signed up and you're asking someone to call you. You reach out to your coach. You're going to have a welcome email that's going to give you instructions on how to sign up for your portal, how to get your information on there, who your coach is, how to reach them, how to schedule a call with them. Most of us are on the phone all day with different veterans, and we schedule those calls so that we can give you the time and the attention that you deserve. Honestly, if Cassie and I aren't teaching this class or some other class, we're on the phone with our vets, and they schedule the calls. And so that is the absolute best way. As a new member, you've got a couple of different welcome emails, one from our founder, Brian Reese, one from your coach. You should probably have a text message. We're not going to let you fall through the cracks, but you have to be proactive too. Reach out, schedule that call with your coach, get that ball rolling, and you should be on your way soon.
That's awesome. It was great hosting with you, Gil.
Thanks, Cassie. I've enjoyed it. Excuse me. Hope we've provided some information, some help. Hopefully we'll be seeing many of you as new elite members here at VA Claims Insider, and seeing you at the various classes and coffee with the coaches. We'll see your smiling faces when we do. It's been a pleasure, all. Thanks, Cassie.